The Nebelwerfer was more than just a rocket launcher. Its high-pitched, repetitive sound spread across the battlefield seconds before impact. Allied troops quickly learned to recognize the noise and hide, because when it started screaming, it meant that dozens of rockets were about to fall. It wasn't just a weapon, it was the announcement of chaos. The Nebelwerfer, literally mist launcher, was introduced by Nazi Germany as part of reactive artillery during World War II, initially designed to launch smoke. It quickly evolved to launch destruction. Its first operational version, the 15-centimeter Nebelwerfer 41, emerged in 1940, weighing about 500 kilograms and featuring 6 tubes arranged in a circle. Each rocket could hit targets more than 6 kilometers away, but what really marked this weapon was not its destructive efficiency, but the sound, a piercing howl compared by veterans to the scream of banshees or even hell itself, an unmistakable sound that preceded explosive bursts capable of destroying trenches. It was first used in 1941 against Greek and British positions, but it was on the Eastern Front that it found its definitive stage. Units such as the Werfer Regiment 71 and Werfer Abteilung 7 employed the Nebelwerfer with intensity against Soviet positions, especially during the offensives in Jev and Kharkov. Its use was simple and devastating. After minutes of preparation, a full salvo could be fired in seconds, saturating an entire sector with fire and shrapnel. Each rocket weighed about 35 kilograms and the tubes were manually reloaded. The full salvo was guided by an electric cable and released with calculated precision. And although the weapon was easily mobile, mounted on a light chassis, its sound signature made it vulnerable. Nebelwerfer batteries had to change position immediately after firing, at the risk of an enemy counterattack. During the Battle of Kursk in July 1943, the Nebelwerfer was used massively by the 4th Panzer Division and the 2nd SS Division Heiss. Its role was to prepare the ground for the armored advance, breaking through the first Soviet defense line. The Soviets, upon hearing the characteristic scream, already knew what was coming. Massive destruction, followed by the advance of German troops. It was as much psychological terror as it was physical. Later, more powerful versions emerged like the 21-centimeter Nebelwerfer 42 and the 30-centimeter Raketenwerfer 56, with greater range and heavier warheads. These variants were mainly used on urban fronts or in saturation bombing. In 1944, during the defense of Normandy, the Nebelwerfer was once again employed against the Allies, with units such as the 84th Infantry Division using mobile batteries to try to halt the American and Canadian advance. Despite its power, the Nebelwerfer had limitations. The reload time was high, the individual rocket accuracy was low, and the smoke generated by the firing quickly revealed the unit's position. Even so, its tactical and psychological impact was undeniable. Many reports from Allied soldiers mentioned fear when hearing its sound, an irrational, instinctive fear that created disorder even before the explosion hit. The sound of the Nebelwerfer was even recorded in campaign recordings made by American soldiers. Some of these audio files still exist in military archives. It became known as Screaming Mimi or Moaning Minnie among British and American combatants. Such was its presence in the imagination of the front. By the end of the war, over 5,000 units had been produced in various calibers and applications. Although technologically surpassed by Allied rockets, the Nebelwerfer left a deep mark on saturation artillery tactics. Its combination of simplicity, sound impact, and destructive capability made it one of the most feared weapons of the Wehrmacht. During the Italian offensive in the Soviet Union in 1942, units of the 3rd Alpine Division, Julia reported the use of the Nebelwerfer by German forces in indirect support. The rockets were fired in bursts at Soviet positions on the slopes of the Don River. Despite the poor accuracy on pinpoint targets, the psychological impact was immediate. Soldiers reported vertigo, disorientation, and difficulty maintaining positions after the bombardment. These reports helped cement the weapon's fame not only as an instrument of destruction, but as a vector of terror. The impact of the Nebelwerfer in the war was not limited to the terrifying sound that preceded its explosions. This weapon also played a crucial role in altering the way enemy armies thought and prepared for battles. Its use was not just tactical, but strategic, as it imposed a new kind of uncertainty on the battlefield. Where a conventional offensive had once been expected, the Nebelwerfer introduced the idea of unpredictable warfare, where the mere sound of rocket launches could signal the start of a massacre. This deeply affected troop morale, as the threat did not only come from the front lines but from the unexpected, the sound that echoed before the destruction. Furthermore, the evolution of psychological warfare itself can be seen in the intensive use of the Nebelwerfer in situations where direct confrontation was not an immediate option.